Okay, peace. Perfect. I call this meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Elections to order. It is March 18th, 2024, 3 minutes after 3. We have a quorum present. We do have regrets from Diane Dillon, who needs to miss the meeting, as does our board counsel, Kevin Karpinski. I'm sure they will catch up with things when they have the opportunity. As far as my remarks for today, I just wanted to mention about our April meeting again, and a slight change to what we said before. The April meeting will be on April the 15th in person. We will convene at 2:30 and we will get sworn in as members of the Board of Canvassers at that time. We will have the board meeting immediately after the swearing in for the Board of Canvassers. So in other words, we are not going to have a delay, and our board meeting is going to start earlier. And you may recall that we had discussed in the past the idea of having a meeting for candidates, campaigns, and parties about our election preparations. Instead of having a separate meeting, we're going to invite those folks to come to our April meeting to hear the director's report on his election preparations, which will be the first order of business at our April meeting, and then to ask any questions at that time. So we will not have to have a separate meeting in order to do that, but we will have the opportunity for the campaigns and the parties and the public to hear about our election preparations on April the 15th. And while I call that an in-person meeting, it's in person for us in the sense that we have to be in person to be sworn in for the Board of Canvassers, but we will have options for people to participate remotely as well, including for the asking of questions for that time period where they can ask questions. Does anyone have any questions about that? At this, I should also add that before that time, long before that time, before this month is over, we will be sending we will be sending a written communication to all of the, again, to the candidates, the parties, and campaigns, telling them about some of our election news. So we're not going to wait for the April meeting in order to provide that information, but we are going to provide the April meeting as an opportunity for people to ask questions about it directly to us. And obviously, if questions come up before that, folks know how to find us. We are available all the time, but that will be an official opportunity for that. Any questions about the April meeting? Mark your calendars, 2:30 for Monday, April 15th. Okay, are there any additions or changes to the agenda? Okay. Boris, you are not muted. I don't know if you mean to be or not. Okay, disclosures of campaign contributions. Does anybody have any disclosures to make this month? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to public comments. I am not aware of any public commenters who signed up in advance. Boris or Lisa, are you aware of anyone who has signed up in advance?
No one signed up for public comments for this board meeting.
Okay. If any of the attendees are interested in commenting, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we will move on with our agenda. Okay, I see no one who is raising their hand, so we will move on to the election director's report. Boris.
Thank you. I will go briefly through the director's report. The report is available on our website, and as the board members had the opportunity to see, and anyone from the general public who is interested, I tried to produce some additional data for this director's report on the items that are of specific interest for the election process that is coming up on us, 2024 primaries. Let me start, and I'll touch upon each one of them as we go through the report. So materials for this minutes for the February board meeting were distributed to the board members on March 11th. The agenda for today's board meeting was shared with the board members and posted on our website on March 18th. And all the report, the tracking expenditure report, and all other materials were shared with the board and posted on the website on Thursday, March 14th. Next section of the director's report is the voter registration statistics. At the end of February, we had 682,349 active registered voters in our county. We had additional 67,109 inactive voters for the total voter count of 749,458. At the last board meeting, in one of the discussions, the board president was calculating percentages of the party affiliations on the fly. Therefore, I introduced the pie chart today for everyone to see where Montgomery County stands when it comes to the party affiliations of our voters. So we will keep it going on like that if there are any changes. When it comes to the State Board of Elections, as a part of the election process, we were provided with the draft ballots for all styles of ballots for the upcoming primary elections, and staff was proofing the language and the typing on those and the organization of all the ballots. We went through 771 ballot styles, basically each ballot style for each precinct, and then again for Republican ballot, Democratic ballot, and unaffiliated. The same process the staff followed just like we follow for the paper ballots, we follow for the ballot marking devices, the touch screen. We had to do the audio proof of all those available ballots, and 11-inch ballots. All these ballots are available on our website. In the middle of the page, there is a section called Quick Links, and the ballots are placed there. So whoever is interested can see all of them at one place. When it comes to personnel, we have completed the interviewing process for the manager of water services. County's HR section has taken process over, and we hope to onboard the successful candidate in the next period. When it comes to the temporary positions, we currently have 55 colleagues who are with us on a temporary basis. These hirings are related to tasks that we have on hand and the election calendar. So onboarding or assignments are very much driven by the election calendar itself. When it comes to budget, may I just say that we changed a bit the format of the tracking expenditure that we share with the board on monthly basis. We introduced another column in the middle, which shows monthly spending per each budget line. I would like at this point to address an action item from the last board meeting that board member Alexander Vincent asked about negative number on 60168. So if you look, that negative in this context doesn't mean that we overspent. That actually negative means positive, that we have more money in the budget line than it was actually allocated. The reason what I referred last time is most probably charged to the wrong line. The full story is when Rockville conducted their municipal elections, we supported city of Rockville, and we are expecting a chargeback, basically money to be paid for our services by the city of Rockville and added to our budget for the time that our staff, either permanent or temporary, spent working on Rockville elections. So the anticipated amount was added to this budget line as a placeholder. So once the financial transaction is processed, the money will be transferred to the lines from which the money was spent in order to support Rockville elections. So it's a plus, it's not negative per se. The next thing is section activities. When it comes to communication efforts, something what we introduced a few meetings ago, I'm happy actually to report that we did send email out to over 16,000 of our voters who requested to receive their mail-in ballots, so-called web delivery printed home ballots. The effort mimicked the changes in the application process on the state level. So we send an email out to anyone who requested prior this kind of ballot, trying to present them with all the steps that they would need to take in order to return that ballot. That same message is a part of the application process as of recently, but those who requested these ballots prior to that were not necessarily informed in the full detail. Therefore, the email went out, I believe 16,200 and something like that, voters who requested these kind of ballots. When it comes to voter services, let me start with voter registration and our ongoing efforts in list maintenance and voter registration, either registration of the new registrants or updates to the existing voter records. We still process daily all the records that are provided to us from the voters themselves or from specialized agencies that share their data for our list maintenance activities. I'm here talking about jury commission, DHMH, courts, or through ERIC as an interstate platform for exchange of data. Just to indicate the volume of work that is coming towards voter registration section is that in February alone, we almost processed new or updated 18,000 records of our registered voters. This process is, as I said, it's ongoing. We are still around 700 records a day. And traditionally, this number goes further up as we get closer to the election, when all the media picks up and all the campaigns start to alert voters to do what's necessary. So we are still, we are getting closer to election. We are not right before the deadline, voter registration deadline, but the numbers are still quite heavy for the daily workload. And these numbers are not just for the weekdays. They arrive Saturdays and Sundays as well. So literally, first beginning of the work week, we just catching up, cleaning the backlog that is created over the weekend, then dealing with everything that comes in the course of that week. It's like ongoing cycle. When it comes to mail-in voting, just a brief reminder that on January 17th, the State Board of Elections mailed mail-in applications to all registered Democrats and Republicans who didn't have mail-in ballot requests on file. The mailing of same applications to unaffiliated voters and all those Republicans and Democrats who registered since the first pool will commence, I believe, next week. We pulled the data on March 13th because numbers do change daily. And we have over 116,000 mail-in ballot requests for the 2024 primary elections. That is literally higher number than we had for the whole primary of 2022. Meaning we still have 8 weeks to receive applications, and we already are over 2022 primaries.
I believe we're over 2022 general election as well for mail-in ballot.
We are getting there. We are getting there. It will be.
I'm looking at the results for the 2022 gubernatorial election in Montgomery County, and there were 116,087 mail-in ballots. So A little bit more for U.S. Senator, 116,558. So we're up there.
We are up there. What is important for us and for any planning going forward, especially when we get into 2026, if I can already speak about that, is that we have crossed 100,000 permanent mail-in ballot requests. And again, we are still, what, 7 weeks out from the elections? And this is just primary. So I believe by the general elections, this number will take us to completely new level. Web
Boris,
delivery,
would it be okay to interrupt you to let
please,
Ami ask a question?
please.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Ami.
I have a question. Based on how many days you assume how many ballots, mail-in ballots you assume a canvas day can process? How many days does that give us for the canvas already?
So I think that as of today, we are still okay with our original plan for the canvas days. The problem to forecast currently is the fact that we will not have all these requested ballots returned, nor we will have them returned in the same time. Meaning
Sure.
we will not have a big pile to pull from and go into canvas. So if we have 15,000 ballots in the house, in-house to canvas, we will take all 15,000 with us. If we have 6,000, that's it. That's the canvas for today. That's how it will go. So it's that's one aspect. The second is the number of web deliveries that will actually be returned. Because currently we crossed 18,000 web deliveries printed home ballots already. And as I said, we are still seven weeks out. And the third interesting information that we still don't know if the pattern will hold. The board might recall that in 2022, I believe that Montgomery County had the lowest return rate of requested mail-in ballots in the state of Maryland. I have to double check. But our return rate went all the way up to 80+% as expected for the general elections. Okay. This takes us back to one of the previous conversations where we were discussing the voter patterns and behavior in Montgomery County, that we have quite few voters who actually focus on general elections primarily.
We also have quite a few voters who focus on presidential elections and not gubernatorial ones.
Fair enough.
So we may have more of those. If I could just follow up on Ami's question, I recall just a very rough number, if we were talking about U.S. mail-in ballots as opposed to the web-delivered printed home ballots, of roughly 10,000 a day. And I just wanted to get a sense from you, Boris. Am I remembering that approximately correctly? And I think that it's substantially less than that to the extent that we have the web-delivered ballots because of all the extra processing that they require.
So two things. Your memory serves you well. That's the number. There were days when we went beat up. There were days when we tried to mix web delivery and mail-in ballots on the same day, because we noticed that our canvassers had a problem with processing web deliveries throughout the whole day because of the process itself. So we will. I still believe that 10,000 is something that's achievable. What would be different going forward? This is still crystal ball talking here. Is that we will have one card ballots in 2022 primary, meaning any duplication will be on one card, front and back. It won't be like 2022 multiple cards. So we will have
no referenda in a primary, and a relatively small number of races because it's the presidential year.
So what will happen is that there will be less ballots to run back and front with the blank ballots to add to make a set, because missing ballot is the whole set. It will be easier to duplicate, obviously, because you have to check just front and back, not multiple sides. But again, we have to start the canvas and see how everything goes. But these are like positive angles for the 2024 primary versus 2022 general.
And the only other thing to add here, and I'll come to you in a second, Margie. The only other thing to add here is that, as we've said on numerous occasions, None of this has to do with when the ballots will be done, because that depends on the voters. If they know who they're voting for and they return their ballots early, we'll get more done early. If they wait for the campaign to develop and vote closer to election day, then we will have all of these ballots to count late in the process, and that depends on the behavior of our voters. Okay, Ami, were you done? And then I'll go to Margie then. And Boris, I know you were not actually done with your report, but
No, no, it's fine. It's okay.
We'll come back to you. Okay, go ahead, Margie.
All right, thank you. I just had a question about the increase in ballots. So I guess it's kind of like a two-part question. Is it the number you had like originally estimated? And then the second part to my question is, would you say it's because there are more people registering to vote, or more people are converting from an in-person voting to and mail-in ballot voting, like they're switching over their registration status?
I wish there is a simple answer to that question, but let me start with this. It was one of those tasks that you have to do 8 months prior to the elections, when you don't even know who will be the candidates on the ballot, to estimate what will be the turnout or something like that. I did entertain the thought that we will have up to 150,000 applications for the 2024 primary elections. Knowing that we are at 120,000 now, and with the flurry of applications that might hit us run up to elections, I believe that we should cross 140 and be somewhere between 140 and 150,000. I might be off. As I said, it's a guess, it's a crystal ball, but trying to look at dynamics. The second thing is, our total number of voters does not change that dramatically from one elections to another. We are talking, I cannot speak from the top of my head, but fluctuations are not in tens of thousands of total number of voters. What does change here, or what is changing, is you're absolutely correct, Margie, that in-person voting is going down, mail-in voting is going up. And that is trend that is not just observable on a total level of applications. For me, the bigger indication is total number of permanent mail-in ballot requests. We literally jumped from 184,000 that we had at the beginning of January to 101,000 now. So, and I believe that by the end of the general elections, we might be anywhere between over 120, 130,000 permanent ballots, mail-in ballot requests. Now, when it comes to the total number of voters in the county, while the total number doesn't fluctuate that much up and down, the movement of voters does. There's every year high number of voters movement between the PG and Montgomery County, both directions, right? So it's if someone, let's say, is moving from PG and was voting at their polling place for their life because they live there, moved in some new neighborhood here in Montgomery County, it's logical that they might opt to go to vote by mail. Just, again, it's just me guessing, because it's very hard to track on the individual name and what will be the party. That's like a study for itself. May I continue?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. The next thing, as I said, we crossed 18,000 of web deliveries with, again, we over 16,000 permanent requests like that. So when we send an email out reminding everyone about what steps need to be undertaken in order to return that ballot, we did receive a spike of a number of people who requested to change from web delivery to mail for a couple of days. So there it had some effect, but it seemed that certain number of core people is still committed to this way of voting, and we will accommodate to the best of our ability. Just next paragraph just reads a bit about legal requirements of mailing your CAVA ballots 45 days before the elections, and the new requirement from, I would say, 2023 legislative session, which says any application received and processed 60 days before the elections has to be followed by the ballot that's mailed 43 days before the elections. This is, I believe, important for everyone because higher number of ballot goes out early on April 1st, latest. We will have a better chance to have higher number of ballots returned for the early canvass that starts on April 22nd. So it will be 3 weeks span for the ballots to be received by the voters and returned to us. I also included the party breakdown of the requests so everyone who is interested can follow to which extent this breakdown follows the party affiliation distribution in the county itself. There are 2 pie charts that indicate that plus minus 1%, the party affiliations really reflect mail-in ballots requests in the county. So, for example, we have 14% unaffiliated voters, they have 15% of mail-in ballot requests. When it comes to Republicans, we have 12% Republicans registered voters, but 11% of mail-in ballot requests from them. And the permanent numbers hold steady as well. The next thing that I just wanted to mention today, and I believe that I'll be repeating this until we certify elections, is distribution of mail-in ballot requests across the jurisdictions in state of Maryland. While it's interesting data just to see how the total number of mail-in ballot requests spikes for Montgomery County, how total number of web deliveries spikes for Montgomery County, I think it's very important for us to recognize that this number will drive exactly what Ami mentioned, number of canvass days, which will drive the certification days further out compared to other jurisdictions. So as I said, I haven't been here for decades. I've been here for 2 cycles. I know there are many comparisons between the counties. Why can we not do it faster or in line with other counties? And I believe this chart explains exactly the reason. So it's my effort to try to pass a message that we are on it, that we are planning, but some expectations have to be put in perspective of the actual numbers that staff is facing when it comes to return and processing. So when it comes to IT section, we are preparing equipment. We are setting up the warehouse to commence logic and accuracy testing in the run-up for the elections and this deployment of the equipment. We are still working with the TEPS, Technology and Enterprise Business Solutions Department of the county, to replace the Future Vote portal, and I believe the rollout is scheduled for the next week. Training session by March 13th, I think the data was pulled, had 113 classes and trained almost 1,000 election workers for the upcoming elections. When it comes to operation sections, it's again preparation, staging and preparing all the equipment and cars that need to be deployed to early voting sites. We have finalized the ballot order for the 2024 primary, ballots that will be distributed among the early voting centers and polling places. And we did have a meeting with the moving contractors because drop boxes will be deployed throughout the county on March 26th. It will be a one-day operation that will distribute those big drop boxes to every location that board has approved. Before, we have some locations with the smaller drop boxes that are distributed internally through the county services. When it comes to recruitment and election support, just to have a full understanding what the team is doing in that part of the building, They do their job, which is recruitment of election workers for the upcoming elections, which includes processing applications, answering the phone calls or emails, assisting anyone who is interested to complete the application and take them to the process of online quiz and everything. We do process the training results, and we call it placement, literally building the rosters of election judges, election workers for each polling place, meaning how many POPs, how many chief judges, same-day registration, and similar. I did include some numbers for the board and general public. So, as I said, March 13 was cutoff date when we pulled the numbers for this report. We had almost 3,100 prospective volunteers who went online and renewed their application to serve as election workers. We have 2,143 volunteers who completed online quiz. And as I said, 993 completed in-person training, and they got their placement at the desired polling places or early voting sites. We have additional 776 who already picked a date when they want to go through in-person training. If I may use this opportunity just to amplify two messages. Number one, we are still looking for volunteers to serve as election workers. We are looking for anyone who is ready to step up, serve during early voting or the neighborhood polling place where they usually vote. Special message maybe goes as the last board meeting to our voters who are affiliated with the Republican Party. The numbers that we have for the registered Republicans who signed up to volunteer are pretty down. So we would like that number to go up if possible. And for all those who renewed the application, took the online quiz, or for all those who are considering doing that, just small encouragement to do it sooner rather than later, because sooner you go through the training, better chances you have to serve at your polling place in your neighborhood. Because once, as I said, first come, first serve, whoever signs up from that area will get the positions at those polling places first. So when it comes to party affiliation of those who completed the application, we are looking at 2,100 Democrats, 357 Republicans, 596 unaffiliated, and 43 from other parties. I don't want to go back and forth whether the percentages hold for the overall total distribution of voters in the county. For us, what is important is bipartisan teams that we want to have at every polling place that we will have in 2024 primary elections. When it comes to the meetings and events, on March 12th, operations manager, Ms. Mindy Williams, and myself, we met with the president of Montgomery County League of Women Voters and the league's treasurer, Ms. Susan Albertine and Lynn Strohsnyder. We were discussing the implementation of the polling place evaluation and support program. League of Women Voters has been the partner for Board of Elections for a number of years in implementation of this very successful program that gives us very coherent and very detailed feedback on the performance on each polling place in our county. As a follow-up, I did accept invitation that League of Women Voters generously extended to speak at their virtual event on March 26th, and topic for my comments will focus on reliable sources of election-related information. Basically, trusted sources, which I believe the board has a good performance in that aspect, and our partners from League of Women Voters do absolutely their part as well. So that was the director's report for March 18. board meeting.
Thank you, Boris. Questions for Boris? Alex?
Thank you, Mr. President. Boris, first, I wanted to compliment you on the new column and the new layout of the budget spreadsheet. Very much an improvement, and appreciate your constantly thinking about how to make it better. With respect to that budget line that you had talked about, that I had asked about at the last meeting, so I guess, at least for now, would it be fair to say that, in fact, we've got $83,000 in the temporary office clerical? Because if this is a receivable, we're expecting to get an additional $24,000 reimbursement from the city of Rockville. Would that be correct to say?
That is correct to say. And the way I believe what will happen once the actually amount is received, the amount will be distributed to the actually budget lines at where we experience expenditures in the course of helping Rockville. This is, as I said, the placeholder.
Okay.
And
Okay.
this is one of those Chuck's items that he goes back and forth with all the finance people that are involved, and the introduction of this middle column is literally it was Chuck's idea, just to bring additional level of information to the board and general public.
No, that's very much appreciated. So I'd like to thank him for that, especially too. My only other question was about the job posting for deputy election director. Do you know how long that's open?
It's been open over 3 months now.
And do you know how many applicants we have received?
I do.
I'm not sure you're
I'm not
allowed
sure
to
that
share
I can
that.
go in personnel
Yeah.
issues
Ma-
in an
ma-
open
you
session.
Say it in a public meeting. I was just concerned about if we haven't gotten that many or any at all. I don't know. It's something maybe, Mr. President, we should talk about in closed session about maybe is there something we can do to generate more interest. But again, I don't know what the figures are.
Fair enough.
Let's talk about it offline. And if need be, we can have an executive session to talk about that. But I know that all of us would like that position to be filled with the right person as soon as possible.
Me too.
Yes, Boris probably wants it more than any of us. But I know that we know that that's a very important position. Alex, anything else?
That does it for me. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Kina, was your hand up before, and is it up? Did you intend for it to be up?
No, Mr. President, I did not intend for it to be up.
Oh, okay, great. Marge, I'll come to you in a second. I wanted to ask Boris about some of the data relating to election judges. It sounds like we have about 3,000 people who have gotten to, I guess, through the quiz stage, and who have completed an application. What is our goal for the overall number we want for the primary?
So that is the first number is 3,100 of volunteers who completed the application. There are, if I may reference, I cannot speak from the top of my head. In an overview of 2022 elections, we delivered a presentation of number of applications, number of people who completed online quiz, number of people who completed in-person training, and number of people who actually served. So historically, we have a significant drop in each category as you go down in order to complete the process. So I believe that board will join me in saying that we need more. So
Yes.
3,100 applicant doesn't take us where we want to be. That is
What can we do to help? Because we obviously would like to help in any way we can, and I mention it everywhere I go. I know others do too. But what else can we do to help? Is there any kind of follow-up with the people who submit applications to limit our drop-off? You know,
there are a few things that are happening that I might should have mentioned. Number one is that we have established a cooperation with our colleagues from MCPS who are running their staff bulletin that goes out, I believe, to 24,000 people. And they are advertising our ad. And the first one went out this week. The second thing is that we will get a space on MCPS bulletin that goes to the students and families, and we will advertise that one as well. I believe there's 150,000 students and families who should be receiving this. The third thing is, when we have April meeting and we have campaigns and politicians, candidates running, I believe that community service as election judge is something that board can reinforce that message. And the last thing is, in Montgomery County, historically, we see the spike in signups or return of mail-in ballots towards the end of the process, the closer we get to the elections. So we are doing a lot of outreach events. We are reaching out to everyone. I believe that if the board can amplify the message of the time is now, especially for anyone who wants to serve at their neighborhood polling place, as I said in the middle of the report, we will accommodate as long as you are among the first ones who actually to apply for those open seats. Because once assignments are done, we will find you new assignment, but we cannot promise your neighborhood polling place. So we are literally telling everyone, please sign up, don't wait. We still have positions. We have different trainings. Trainings are happening throughout the whole day, throughout the whole week, on multiple locations. You don't need to sign up for the next training. You can sign up for the training that's 2 weeks down, find a space in your schedule, join us. And I believe that the board is amplifying that message as we go along.
Okay, we certainly will continue to do that. I would also point out that the numbers, while they're not drastically different than our registration numbers, they seem to show Democrats a little overrepresented and Republicans and unaffiliated a little underrepresented. And if there's anything that we can do, or Ami or Alex or Diane when she's available, if you have any ideas of things that we can do, we would like to encourage that in any way we can. I'm happy to work with you on any suggestions that you have. Other than perhaps, I don't know whether we should be issuing you a public challenge and say that we're in competition, but
Well, Mr. President, let me say I've been taken to the streets in what I know to be Republican neighborhoods and begging people to sign up. So
okay,
I
we
have only
appreciate.
just begun.
Okay, well, that is reassuring, Alex, and I'm sure that it is not a reflection of your efforts, because it's it's a difficult time to get anybody to do this kind of work, and I certainly understand that. Okay, now in terms of the hands that I saw, I think I saw Margie first. I think I saw Daniel second. I think I saw Ami third. So
I can back off.
okay. Margie, go ahead.
Right, thank you so much. I just had a quick question about the budget. I saw that we went over on the election workers management system. I do want to start off by thank you for following up with an email that it's up and running and now we can test it, and that's on my to-do list. But I definitely want to know if if we think that we'll still be spending money on this. I know we're working with TEBS. I think that's who we're working with in the county. So did they go over more just because they're taking more time to work on it? Are there like delays and is there like with like just general management of the system, will we continue to go over in this field?
So few items here. This is a system that is being renewed in phases. Basically, we are rebuilding a system in a way that will not interrupt with our operation of elections. So the first phase that was completed for the primary enable us to run what needs to be run. The second thing is when we were planning for the renewal of the system, when it was necessary to do, there was no estimate available at that moment. So what we had the so-called a placeholder amount. And it was general understanding for everyone that a system of that size that could operate around 20,000 contacts, that can process applications, enable secure transactions without voters, enable placement and polling place management, cannot be delivered for the amount that was initially budgeted in. So the conversation that goes on with tabs is the work itself. We are not late. First of all, we are not, let me put this way, we are not late, there's no extensions here, but there will be multiple phases. Because as much as tabs is willing to jump on it and finish it in one go, running elections is priority. So the structure of the work schedule follows our needs as per election calendar, not tabs' ability to put the programmers at work and deliver the product at a certain time period.
Of course. And then I just had a follow-up to that. Does TEBS not provide quotes when like taking on a project like this? Is because you said there was a placeholder amount, so TEBS doesn't have like, oh, this kind of project would cost this amount of money. Is that just like impossible to do?
It is possible, but we had to put a placeholder in the budget before any meaningful conversation with TEBS took place. So there was a need and there was a time to put something on the budget even before TEBS managed to start putting a sketch together. What would it require? And for this particular program, there were external components that were considered whether to bring them in or not. So again, budget deadlines, when we had to put the draft together, and the work deadlines that the TEBS had to organize were not in a match at that particular moment.
All right, thanks, Boris. That was incredibly helpful.
Okay, Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Boris, again, I think you answered the question I had, but I just wanted to provide feedback from folks who have applied, and these are like brand new, individuals who want to participate, and you've applied, went through the process, got feedback and emails, went through the training. One was so excited that now, she can say she's an election judge in Montgomery County. The other one called me over the weekend and said, guess what? I'm a chief judge now. I'm like, whoa. I mean, Boris is handing over all this, positions and titles. I just want to provide that feedback. That's all.
Perfect. Thank you, Daniel. I'm really, I talked to recruitment team and Janet, who is literally behind all this IT work daily. And my understanding is that our voters picked up a new system and that they appreciate it. The ability to go online, do everything by yourself, just follow the process. There is no unnecessary back and forth and stuff like that. That's how I believe that should be Montgomery way to do it. So.
Given our voters' penchant for automated solutions in other areas, that does seem to be a good thought, Boris.
I believe that we spoke many times that our voters like these options, like these solutions, anything that can be done online. As I said, we started a lot of email communication with our voters. We are picking up doing the same thing for the recruitment as well, maybe targeting certain areas. I believe this is the way how the communication will go forward.
That sounds great. Ami, did you want an opportunity or no? Okay. Anyone else have questions about the director's report? Okay, next on the agenda is the board attorney's report. The board attorney is not able to be here. He is in trial, not relating to us, but I'm sure he will let us know if and when there are things for us to know.
David,
Yes, go ahead.
May I just
Ford.
very briefly,
Yeah.
Kevin is the usually the one who covers the part about ongoing efforts to sign MOUs for all
Oh,
the
yes,
activities.
yes, please do tell us
So
about
if
that.
I
Yeah,
can just touch briefly on that,
Please do.
that we have MOU finalized with the Sandy Spring. We have MOU finalized for Bora Park. Rockville Dropbox is completed. We are putting the final touches for the very comprehensive one for with MCPS for the drop boxes. So we believe that we are in good shape. There are a few just that are in works, but I hope by the next board meeting we are done.
Okay, that would be a great thing to happen if we can. Thank you. Anything else on that subject? Okay, next is old business. I'm not aware of any old business for us to discuss today. Does anyone have any old business to bring up? Okay, we'll move on to the website. Boris.
Okay, when it comes to the website, we introduced this statistical reporting for the previous month. The board members will notice and public that I did introduce an additional column, which just emphasized the previous month data with the previous month data with the last month data. I think it was necessary just to paint a proper picture of the spike in interest and visits to our website. If you just look at the first number of page views that we had January to February comparison, we went from 17,000 to 63,000 in 1 month. And that increase translates throughout all the categories that are included in this statistical report that is prepared for the board. The average length of time that voters or individuals will spend our website, we went from 81 seconds to 126, which is 50% increase. We are talking about the number of sessions that doubled. Number of sessions that lasted longer than 10 seconds or had 2 or more screens or page views went up 3 times. So, as I said, we are getting closer to the election season. There's a lot of outreach efforts going on. There's a lot of communication that we do, that I believe the board does, that the campaigns do, that voters are getting engaged in the maybe national dynamic of the political process. So that interest is reflected on the numbers that we see on our website. What I found also very, very interesting at the very bottom of this report, you will see the top 10 visited web pages on our website. The first one is always home page. That is given. What is interesting, in February, the following 9, they are all election recruitment related. And that is how it should be. So for me, this means that we are doing it right in terms of outreach, in terms of promotion, in terms of accessibility, availability, and everything. So some pages on our website will increase in prominence as we get closer to the elections. As we get closer to election, but this is a good time to have everyone's focus on recruitment, and I believe these numbers justify the effort.
We just have to get it, as many of them from the web pages
Once-
onto the application page as we can.
That is, we try to follow our interested applicants throughout the whole process. So
Do we go back to people? Do we have the ability to know who's visited our website and send them a follow-up and say, you know, hey, how about applying?
no, we don't have that ability. What we have and what we are doing. So if after a certain number of days, if you complete your application and you don't take the next steps, which is quiz, we reach out to you.
Meaning
And
that
if
they
you
can
take
send
online,
an email, or what happens?
so there's a combination. Like we start with the emails, there's some mailing, and then there are phone calls, depending on the options that voters provide for us or they prefer. We literally have staff that stays after 5 o'clock trying to reach out on the phone to voters who might be working till 5 to try to not disturb anyone during their working hours. And we literally stay on Saturdays to make those phone calls for anyone who might be working during the week. So we are trying to cover all the times and all the modes of communication that we could benefit by getting our voters to follow through on all steps of the process. So it's work in progress. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's literally work in progress. So we try to cover, as I said, all communication options, all time spans of the day and the week when people might be more responsive to the phone calls that we make.
I don't know what the expense is of software that automatically follows up on such things, but I know that if I look at tickets for an event that I don't buy, I will frequently get a follow-up email that says, "Hey, you looked at these tickets. Are you interested?" And I don't know whether that's something that Montgomery County government can or should do, but obviously anything. It sounds like we're doing the equivalent of that
Yeah.
by following up. So
We are, and we are targeting, David, like people
Yeah.
who signed who complete the application but didn't sign the training. That's one communication.
right,
Who finished online training, didn't go in person training. That's different. We have students who did the application but nothing else. Simple, different communication because we need still their parents' permission slips included. So it's
Right,
not
right.
straightforward one mailing that goes out for everyone,
right.
but we have multiple ones that are going targeting those groups.
That's great. Really appreciate that. Kina.
Thank you, Mr. President. Quick question, Boris, about the outreach after they have shared interests. I don't know if this was expressed last time, but regarding texting platforms, I know also that can be a fairly expensive type of technology to use, but I was wondering if we have used or have tried a texting platform in the most recent election for outreach to those who haven't completed the cycle.
Not in 2022, but we did literally a week ago, because we have learned fairly quickly that our high school population reacts better to texting than to emails, and especially not well to those paper cards that are sent in the mail.
Yeah.
So texting option has been utilized, and we are reaching out to voters like that. There are limits with the texting because of the number of characters, and no one wants to read the page in your text. But texting options which say it's Board of Elections, we are reaching out via email to you. These are interesting things. Please check us out. Yeah, we are doing that.
Fantastic. That explains why I didn't receive one. I'm not a high school student. I feel less bad about that now. Thank you, Boris, very much for clearing that up.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else about the website? All I want to say is that I find this report every month to be really fascinating and valuable. And please keep up the good work, because it gives us a sense as to where where our population is focusing and all of that. So we really appreciate that. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the legislation update. Boris, back to you.
I'll be very, very brief on this one. I did update the legislation as of Friday evening, I would say. All the changes that were introduced. Today is a crossover day. David, correct me if I'm wrong.
You are correct.
For the legislation to move from one house to another. So it's through the document that was shared with the board that's available on our website. There is a link for anyone who is interested to see the text of the bill that is being proposed. And actually, a General Assembly provides very good visual where the bill stands at that particular moment in terms of movement through the committees and the moving to a different chamber. So I believe that there are few bills that are going along, and there are a few bills that are not moving forward. I know that I made a note for myself. not sure that I remember properly, but I don't want to go into my interest in the different bills, but again, some bills did move, some bills will not move. Let's put it this way, very briefly.
I'll just say very briefly to explain for those who may not know, although I think board members probably do, that crossover day is the last day on which there's a guarantee that if one house passes a bill, the other house will give it a hearing. So there is a deadline of sorts today for the House to finish all of its bills that it wants the Senate to hold hearings on, and for the Senate to finish its bills that it wants the House to hold hearings on. It is possible to hold hearings on bills that pass after today, but it is much harder. There's a guarantee if it's done by today. So the House of Delegates actually was in session on Saturday, which is not the norm. And I believe both houses are in session today, and there are things moving back and forth, and we're probably going to get a little more information in the next couple of weeks as to what is actually moving. And with that, I'll just ask if there are any questions about legislation. Okay, seeing none, we'll move to the outreach update. Is that also you today, Boris?
That is also me, because Gilberto could not be with us today. There's a small thing that I forgot to mention. One of the action items at the last meeting, and I wanted to mention in terms of website. If I remember properly, David, you asked for the getting started component of the election workers to be moved up.
Yes.
That part is completed as well. So I
Excellent.
apologize, I forgot to mention it.
Thank you very much. I just thought
So-
that it made sense for getting started to be at the beginning.
It was done.
Thank you.
I had a conversation with Gilberto in preparation for this board meeting. What do we need to say about outreach and our efforts today? And he just said busy, busy, busy. I think that is the best description of our effort. That is what is happening now. There is a lot of events going on, as you can see through the calendar that was shared with the board that's available on our website. There's also a lot of planning, because upcoming events with the future vote and communication with their parents and engagement for the upcoming election. But if I may summarize, not as eloquently as Gilberto would say it, it's still busy, busy, busy when it comes to the outreach and our ongoing efforts. So the calendar that was shared lists all the events that were completed in March. We have a number of items that were confirmed, that were held since the report was pulled last week, and everything that is coming up for us. The most important line also as well is that this is not set in stone. We always, as we go ahead, end up adding more events to the calendar than initially shared with the board, because requests do come in, and the board members will remember you would also propose some events, notify us of some events that we would jump on as well to do the outreach as need be. But again, it's a high time of the pre-election season, and outreach is all out there.
And I'll just say that I'm happy to see it does seem like there is a relative variety of events. And I know that Daniel and I plan to, along with staff, attend the Riderwood Democratic Club meeting on Wednesday. But I also see that there is voter engagement with the Chevy Chase Women's Republican Club next week, and a variety of groups around the county, which I'm definitely happy to see. Anything else on the outreach update?
Mr. President, I just want to again acknowledge the work that Boris and the staff are doing, not only as you make mention of those events, but also geographically as well. They're hitting, events up county, mid county, down county, east county. So I know it's a lot of work. So I just want to acknowledge that work.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that this board said pretty clearly is that we want it to be geographically diverse in addition to being politically diverse, in addition to being racially and ethnically diverse. And it sounds like we are well on our way towards those goals. So thank you for that. Okay, anything else on outreach? All right. Oh, Margie.
Just quickly plus oneing what everyone says. I see there's a ton of events in Germantown, and I'm really happy to see the upcoming representation. We definitely have a large population up here of people, so that's something that it's been really great to see. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Margie. Um, Boris, are you going to explain to us what you need for the new business item?
So I will very briefly present, and there is as the board members are well aware that every step of the election process or preparation for the election itself, there is a tons of documentation that needs to follow and the sign off on every activity that we do so anyone can look back and recreate what was done and why and how and when. One of those upcoming tasks for the staff is to do logic and accuracy on the equipment that will be utilized during early voting and election day for the upcoming elections. The form that we would need to be completed when the process is finalized requires for us to state the date when the board instructed the election director and the staff to commence the logic and accuracy preparation for the upcoming election. Therefore, the staff and myself, we are seeking your motion to direct us to commence logic and accuracy for the 2024 primary presidential elections.
Okay. Do I hear such a motion? Alex.
President, I move that the board direct the election director as of today and as soon as possible thereafter to conduct logic and accuracy testing and preparation for all voting units for the 2024 presidential election.
Okay, is there a second? Ami is seconding it.
Yes, I
Um,
will second.
My only question for Boris, Alex used the phrase as soon as possible thereafter, and I don't know how long this process takes or how much time you need to prepare for it.
So process will take quite a number of days, let's say, if not weeks, because we have a lot of equipment. We had larger jurisdiction in the county, and we do tend to deploy equipment in a sufficient number to accommodate the voting process in person. And the start date is very much contingent on the data files and all the processes that have to be completed on the state level and forward to the local levels to integrate.
Okay, so we'll just interpret Alex's motion to mean that as soon as possible, consistent with what the state has to do before you start your work,
I can promise the board that I can promise the board that we want to have those files the moment they are ready, just to take it off our to-do list.
Okay, that sounds great. Is there any discussion? All right, we'll do a quick roll call vote. Daniel?
I vote yes.
Ami?
I vote yes.
Kina?
I vote yes.
Alex?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes, so it is unanimous. So, Boris, you are so instructed.
Thank you.
Okay, did we have any future action items from today's meeting? I know that there's lots of things going on, but I'm not sure that we instructed you to do anything specific during the course of this meeting.
I
I
didn't.
think you're correct, David.
Yeah.
I
I
will
tried to
say,
write it down.
okay, I will say that one of the things that I announced that is going to take place and that I will announce again is going to take place, but we did not specifically instruct Boris to do in the meeting, is that there will be a letter going out to the candidates, campaigns, and parties to tell them about the various things relating to the election. We are going to have it out within the next 2 weeks, hopefully on the sooner end of that. And it is also going to invite them, if they want to have a conversation with us, to come to our April meeting, which once again will be an in-person meeting for us. It'll be a hybrid meeting for the world, and it will start at 2:30 with our swearing in for the Board of Canvassers, followed by Boris's report, followed by an opportunity for people to ask questions of us and whatever else needs to be on the agenda that day. But I don't think we have any specific action items from today. We'll mark this day on our calendar because I'm sure that, well, Boris has plenty on his plate without it. So
Thank you.
yeah, he's ahead of the game on that. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. I realize that oh, Ami, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I move that we approve the minutes as corrected both by yourself and by Alex.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those, well, let's again we'll do a quick roll call vote so the record is clear. Daniel,
I vote yes.
Ami,
I vote yes.
Kina,
I vote yes.
Alex,
Aye.
and I vote aye, so it is unanimous. And thank you all very much. Just a discussion of future meetings. I've already discussed the April 15th meeting ad nauseum. I've said it twice, but we will convene at 2:30. We will be sworn in as the Board of Canvassers to prepare for our canvass, and we will have a board meeting immediately following the swearing in. So again, our April 15th meeting will be 2:30, not 3 o'clock like our other meetings have been. And the start of the mail-in ballot canvass will be at 10 o'clock on Monday, April 22nd. And obviously, we will see what the volume of ballots is that comes back, and when they come back, we will be constantly updating both the board and the public based on those returns in terms of other dates on top of that, but definitely 10 o'clock a.m. and that will be at I believe at the Montgomery College Germantown campus. And then our May meeting is currently scheduled for Monday, May 20th. Any other questions or comments for the good of the order before we adjourn? Okay, thank you very much, everybody. See you soon.
Thank you all.
All
Very
right.
much appreciated.
All right, bye-bye.